In the name of Almighty, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Here, Ab Qayoom Qureshi, lecturer commerce, Government Boys Higher Secondary School, Bhatpura Bagam, Handwara. Well, dear students, very good afternoon to all of you. Today, I am going to deliver a lecture on accountancy 11th, and my topic is expenditure. By the term expenditure, from accounting point of view, we mean spending of money, number one. Number two, transfer of property. And number third, paying or ending a liability. Spending of money, transfer of property, and paying or ending a liability means expenditure. I will explain this term with the help of example. Please, suppose you are going to purchase some products for domestic purpose. For example, rice, vegetables, atta, oil, etc. And you spend money for these products. You pay money, you pay some amount for the purchase of these products. This paying or spending of money or this expenditure, this payment made for these products means expenditure. Similarly, you are transferring some property with a view to earn income or profits. For example, you are willing to become an entrepreneur. You wish to set up your own business unit and invest some capital in a company to earn revenue or income. Or say, for example, you have a piece of land, you sell it and purchase some assets for resale in the company so that we may earn more and more revenue. But this paying or transferring this property, selling the piece of land, you are making here an expenditure. This means expenditure. And number third, you have a huge liability in hand. You wish to pay this liability and this liability, and you are making an expenditure. You are making a payment, spending money. This making of payment for ending this liability, this also means expenditure. Dear students, let's know more about this expenditure. The term expenditure, this can be classified in three ways, or this can be classified into three categories. Or in other words, we can say the term expenditure, it has three types. That is, number one, capital expenditure. Number two, revenue expenditure. And number three, deferred revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, and deferred revenue expenditure. Let's elaborate these three categories one by one. Yes, number one, capital expenditure. Let's know about it. This capital expenditure, it's a payment, it's an expenditure made for the purchase of assets. Yes? Expenditure or payment made for the purchase of assets. Purchase of assets. This is important point here. The payment made for the purchase of assets from which benefit will be derived. From which benefit will be derived. That means from which profit will be earned. Benefit will be derived in future. Purchase of assets, expenditure made or payment made for the purchase of assets from which benefit will be derived in future, or from which profit will be earned, revenue will be earned in future. That's called capital expenditure. Here we can say the investment made for purchase of assets is also called capital expenditure. In short, I will give you an example. Suppose an entrepreneur invests some amount, a huge amount, say for example rupees 50 lakh in the business, and purchases some assets such as machinery, land and building, computers, etc. These assets will help him to improve the organization, to improve the enterprise. Here we can say this investment or the payment, this is capital expenditure. One very important point to remember here is that these purchased assets, these are not meant for sale or resale. Not meant for resale. Like fixed assets. Now, let's go to the next point. I hope you would have understood fully the term capital expenditure. Now, our next point is revenue expenditure. The second category, the second type of expenditure. Revenue expenditure. Let's know. What is this revenue expenditure? It is a payment or the expenditure made for the purchase of goods and services. The money spent for the purchase of goods and services the money spent for the purchase of goods and services for current year or an accounting year. For current year or accounting year, this is known as revenue expenditure. But this expenditure is made with a view to earn revenue. Remember it. The expenditure, the payment made for the purchase of goods and services which are consumed during the current year, which are consumed during the accounting year, or we can have another definition here or another meaning. The expenditure to purchase goods and services which are used to produce revenue. Purchase of goods and services. The expenditure made, the payment made for purchase of goods and services which are used. These goods and services are used to produce revenue. Which are used, these goods and services, these are used to produce revenue or income or profit. The expenditure made for the purchase of goods and services to produce revenue, that's called revenue expenditure. But the condition is this expenditure is to be made during a current year, within a current year, or within 1 year. And number third here, deferred revenue expenditure. Deferred revenue expenditure. This is very important here to know what is deferred revenue expenditure. A heavy expenditure or a heavy payment made for a heavy expenditure or a heavy payment made for a number of years. A heavy expenditure made for a number of years is known as deferred revenue expenditure. I will give you some examples to understand this point clearly. For example, example number 1, expenditure made on advertisement. Expenditure on advertisement to launch a new product in the market. To launch new product in the market. For example, you are an entrepreneur and are going to launch a new product in the market, and you are making a huge expenditure. For example, you are advertising this product through electronic media, through printed media, newspapers, posters. But one thing is here, this expenditure will not pay you at present. This is not meant for earning revenue or profit at present. However, in the long run, it will pay us. But at present, this expenditure is made only for the fame of the product, to earn the name and fame of the product. Number 1. So it is a heavy expenditure made for a long number of years, for a long period of time. After various years, we can meet out this money or this expenditure. Number 2, expenditure on heavy losses. Expenditure on heavy losses. This is called deferred revenue expenditure. Suppose, such as these earthquakes, floods, fire, loss due to fire, etc. We are the eyewitnesses of earthquake of 2005, dear students, and floods in Kashmir 2014. In both the years, a huge number of houses, buildings collapsed and damaged. Various companies, factories, wholesale shops got damaged during the earthquake of 2005 and got washed away during the flood of 2014 in Kashmir. So these companies, wholesale shop owners, entrepreneurs couldn't meet out the heavy loss within 1 year, within weeks or days. This would have taken years together to meet out the expenditure, to meet out the loss. And third example we have here. At present, we are facing a very big disease, that is coronavirus. In other words, we can say COVID-19 this coronavirus, this has created a heavy downfall in the economy of each and every country of the world. Every country of the world in future, in the long run, has to face this problem. Each and every country of the world has to meet out this heavy loss. For example, at present, due to this virus, coronavirus, we are at homes. Government and other departments have issued advisories to stay at homes for safety. And various agencies, departments are functioning or working on it to cure this disease, to save human lives from this disease. But a very huge amount is being spent on it by every country. This will not be met out within days. It will take years together for every country to meet out this loss or this amount. So, my dear students, I think you would have fully understood the term expenditure and more about it, its categories, etc. This time, I think it's enough for today. I again would like to say you goodbye till we meet again. Thank you.